Okay. Oh wow. Um okay, Stacy Brown. It's great seeing you. I'm a
Always good
night
seeing you.
person. You're probably an early person. I'm a late person. But anyway, I'm Lauren. This is Lauren Live. This is the second show. We're going to get right into it with Stephen A. Smith. We're
Oh
going to
gosh.
start with the guest. I like to start with the guest. Let the guest talk first. I
Well,
was run some
hmm
video, but I've got you here. You're more interesting than the video. So obviously, you wrote a piece for Black Press USA on Stephen A. And it blew up on Black Press USA as it should have, as so many of your stories do. And there's a lot to say here, but you go ahead and talk about what you wrote and what you think this is, and I'll give you my theory.
oh, the thing about it, what I hate most, um, in this time that we're in, where we have a wannabe dictator who is doing the bidding and is of white supremacy,
Hmm.
and who is trying to erase everything black and black
Hmm.
history, and then who consistently attacks black people, especially and particularly black women in power.
Hmm.
Then you have your so-called black conservatives who support this, right? And that's the thing too, Lauren. Let me just say this too: just because you're a black conservative or black Republican doesn't mean you have to support this, right?
Right.
But somehow they say they do, or they do. Okay. So any black person or brown person who's supporting this to me is just absolutely insane. But then when you get someone who has a platform like a Stephen A. Smith, who has the bank account of a Stephen A. Smith, you figure that he got the money in the bank. And I know ESPN, he's under contract for gobs more money, right?
Right.
For a whole lot more money.
Right.
Um, But where do you draw the line? Where do you say, wait a minute, I am not going to be Stephen Fetchit. My name is Stephen A, not Stephen or Stephen Fetchit, right?
Right.
Um, he has. It's like Jay Z and others who are billionaire status, right?
Hmm.
You've reached that status, um, and you could take a stand,
Right.
right? Muhammad Ali took a stand,
Right.
right? The athlete, Jesse Owens, the athletes with the
Hmm.
power to the people, fist in the air,
Right.
took a stand. Heck, Bill Cosby, when he was, and
Hmm.
it's not popular to folks today,
Right.
they have their reasons, but took a stand. And I'm talking about in the 60s. Remember Sidney Poitier took a
Hmm.
stand,
Right.
right? Um, Take a stand. When you have that platform and that power, that audience anyway, that Stephen A has, take a stand. Someone said, and I love this because I agree wholeheartedly with this. It says a black man is consistently exploited by Republicans to undermine black women. Stephen A. Smith embodies the role of the token black man willingly serving as a puppet to create division within the black community. He resembles someone who Republicans admire as he perpetuates harmful stereotypes of black men and, of course, black women. It's crucial to recognize how these portrayals not only harm individuals, but also weaken the collective strength of our community. And that's Stephen A. Smith in a nutshell, Lauren.
Yeah, you cover so much of what I think this is, which I think people see it more granularly. You see the back and forth, certainly with everybody critiquing him, and he just
Hmm.
happens to pick out Jasmine Crockett, one of the
Of all
most
people.
popular, one
Of
of the
all
most
people.
popular African American elected officials in the country. None of that to me is an accident. I'm glad you read something, so I don't feel so funny about reading something.
Yeah.
I'm about to read one of my favorite books, the 48 Laws of Power. I'm just going to read one law because it is the
Mhm.
law that I believe that Stephen A. Smith is following in this moment and has followed for years. It doesn't make him unique. A lot of people do this, but I think it's worth mentioning. It's law number 6: court attention at all costs. Everything is judged by its appearance. What is unseen counts for nothing. Never let yourself get lost in the crowd, then, or buried in oblivion. Stand out. Be conspicuous at all costs. Make yourself a magnet of attention by appearing larger, more colorful, more mysterious than the bland and timid masses. Now,
Oh, wow.
we understand that that's what Trump does all the time, right?
Yep.
I am confident that's what Stephen A. Smith
Oh,
is.
that's to
Absolutely
a
confident.
T.
Because one of the other laws in there deals with when you, well, actually, it's that law, number 6. You court attention, and it doesn't matter whether or not that attention is negative or positive. And
Right.
that's where Stephen A is really shining. The other part of what I believe he's doing is just plain, unadulterated anti-blackness. And
Oh,
what it
totally. Totally.
is what he's doing is he's making himself valuable to white people by bashing black people. I mean,
Right.
Candace Owens became a millionaire off of that. Jason
Right.
Whitlock became a millionaire off of that. This is a character that has been with the black community since the days of slavery, right? You are the traitor to the race that goes to hunt, the runaway slaves for the massa, and then you get the
Yep.
big prize, right? I mean,
Yep.
I know I'm being overly dramatic. I know Stephen
Oh,
A.
yeah, I don't think you are.
I am. Slightly. I don't think that he is somebody who sits down and puts his pillow on his head every night thinking, I'm going to bring chaos to the black community. I mean, I don't think he literally is doing that, but whether he knows it or not, that's what it is. What
Yeah.
makes him valuable is his ability to be the mouthpiece of attack to the black community.
And so, you see where um the January 6th insurrectionists,
Mm-hmm.
who Trump pardoned,
Mm-hmm.
is now locked up. I think I know you did the story on this, who is now locked up, got arrested because he was threatening the life of Hakeem Jeffries. And I bring that up to say this: Stephen A. Smith, and I have looked, and maybe it's there and maybe it's not,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't seen it. He has not yet, not once, I should say, bashed the January 6th
Right.
rioters.
Right.
In fact, the Proud Boys have a lawsuit against the country,
Right.
right? Because of what they did on
Right.
January 6th. Donald Trump, who he has never bashed or never said, because it's funny, he says to Jasmine Crockett, you should be worried about your constituents. Well, guess what, Stephen A? We are all constituents of Donald Trump. He's
Right.
the president of the
Right.
United States of America.
Right.
And you have nothing to say. And this man today, in all his privilege,
Right.
has sued or announced, not sued, but has announced that it's just like a lawsuit. He's demanding $250 million, so
Right.
somewhere in that neighborhood, from the U.S. Department of Justice for his prosecutions that
Right.
he went through.
Right.
In fact, the prosecutions that he went through, the trial, the one trial that he had, the one criminal trial, was successful. He was convicted 34 times.
Right.
And you have nothing from Stephen A. Smith on that. Nothing.
See, and that's the thing. He wants to get involved in politics. He's saying he wants to get involved in politics. Free country, nothing wrong with that. But to your exact point, then why isn't he criticizing anybody who has brought hell to the black community? Why isn't he criticizing?
100%.
I mean, in this moment, that is so easy. You just have to take your pick. It could be Stephen Miller, it could be Donald Trump, it could be
That's the
any of
ball.
a number of people, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
somehow you land on Jasmine Crockett. I mean, like, I can't understand.
100%.
I mean,
100%.
it reveals itself immediately, but it is a moneymaker because those people who put him in position want him to be saying it. It was just like with Candace Owens. The second that Candace Owens got off script and criticized something else that was the sacred cow of the people who gave her money, it was
Right.
all over. She was out of there. Right? I mean, you're here to
She was
criticize
done.
black
Yep.
people. You're not here to talk about anything. You're here to criticize black people and say slavery doesn't matter, and y'all are whining about stuff, and how dare you bring this up? And once she got off script, she's out the door. Out the door.
Done. gone. And that is what many believe is the situation with Stephen A. Smith, that he's gotten himself into a situation, maybe with Disney, ABC's parent, right?
Right.
That and somewhere in his contract, this is what he has to do. This is why they re-signed him to such a big contract, because he has that platform and he can go on and do their bidding. It sounds better in their view coming from a black man than it does from white America. As somebody, one of your viewers, Lauren, mentions that Carmelo, I'm shocked too. By the way, Carrie Jr. Carmelo Anthony allowed Stephen A. to do what he did on his platform, on
Right.
Carmelo's platform.
Right.
I'm a huge Carmelo Anthony fan,
Right.
but that was one of the most disappointing things I had seen in a long time.
Right. That's right. And what Mike just brought up is right. Stephen A, let's talk about sports. Okay, let's talk about
Right,
sports, right? So he
right,
could have talked about the Brett Favre issue. He could have talked about so many things that have come up that have dealt with race over the years, that would be quite relevant, to bring up. Brett Favre was a perfect issue to bring up because it melds politics, some race, some economic issues in the same story. And I can't say unequivocally that he's never brought it up. I haven't listened to every minute of Stephen
right,
A. Smith's commentary. Maybe he had brought it up. Maybe it has come up. These things do come up in commentary. Maybe he's mentioned it. But it seems like when he goes for the big moment, the big hit, the big PR moment, it's somebody black. That is the
mhm,
on the other end of that. And I am mystified. I know a lot of people. I saw Angela Rye's commentary. I saw Roland Martin's, and there
right,
was this sort of commentary in there about this being about black women. Maybe it is, I don't know, but I think it's about black people globally. I think it's
yeah,
about anti-blackness specifically, and I
yeah,
think if Stephen A were to sit there and talk like Muhammad Ali did in the 1960s and 70s, he'd get fired. His
right,
contract
right.
would be over. I mean,
But Muhammad Ali didn't care if he got
right,
fired, so to speak. He didn't care that they took his title. He
right,
didn't care about those. What he cared about was his community. And every time there's a classic, Lauren, that you can anybody, those who are watching, anybody can look this up. He was on the Mike Wallace show with Mike Wallace and Sly Stone.
right,
You gotta watch if you haven't seen this. You
right,
have to watch it because Muhammad Ali, when he came down to talk about black people
right,
and the plight of black, he got real serious and he told Sly essentially, listen, let's not clown for these white folks.
right,
I mean, and he was very, and he made it a point not to attack Sly.
right,
And it reminded me too, speaking of the 70s, Don Cornelius, there's another clip
right,
that's going around now where he
right.
talks
I
about
saw
he
that.
wouldn't
Yeah,
criticize
right,
someone who was criticizing Soul Train, but he
right.
broke down why they shouldn't have been, that there are so many other things that they could be criticizing than
Exactly.
Soul Train.
Exactly.
So Stephen A. Smith is really the antithesis of those who came before him.
Yeah, and you're right. When you look at it globally, particularly what's happening in the country right now, we're literally seeing the military occupy major cities. And the way Trump has started with the exception of Portland, all cities with black mayors, right? There is a full-on attack. We saw LaMonica MacGyver in court today in New Jersey. We're going to see New York AG Tish James in court in Virginia on Friday. I mean,
Yeah.
the administration isn't even being vague. There is no
No,
quiet part to be said out loud. They're saying it all out loud in front of everybody's face. There's no dog whistle. There's nothing. So
no.
Stephen A's moment here of commentary comes at a terrible time. A
Yeah,
terrible time.
yeah.
His timing could not be worse. Unless he's going to declare that he's MAGA Republican. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe
Maybe
he
that's
feels
what
like,
this is.
I'm going
Yeah.
Republican. This is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to play this. Maybe because black Republicans, a lot of my black Republican friends have said to me, we have an advantage in the Republican Party because we're the rarity. We're the man bites dog. And when you're black in the Democratic Party, you just blend in. I get the strategy, but it's still terrible. It's still terrible.
Yeah, it's absolutely, and I have folks. I always say this. I cover politics. I don't get involved on a personal level with politics, right? And if you want to claim Democrat, if you want to claim Republican. That's your business.
Mhm.
But in this moment, whether you Democrat, Republican, Independent, if you can't see or can't call out what you're the destruction, the intentional destruction of Black America, brown people in America, the intentional destruction of this country, the intentional crashing of the economy, uh, 300,000 plus, at least 300,000 Black women losing their jobs.
Right.
Um, this anti-diversity.
Right.
Let's forget about DE and I, equity inclusion part. Diversity in itself.
Right.
This all-out assault, and like you said, this is not longer a dog whistle. They are telling you straight up. We
Right.
saw those young Republicans,
Right.
right? 30-something year olds, some of them 20-something, saying exactly how the majority of that party has come. This is not the party of Ronald Reagan or George
That's right.
Bush.
That's right.
This
That's
is
right.
strictly MAGA and MAGA. We knew in 2016 what
Right.
MAGA meant.
That's right. That's right. And to Carrie's point in the chat, we just had a dual scandal with regard to young Republicans, in quotes, with regard to racist text messaging. The openness of it, writing someplace on some text that somebody could screenshot or copy and paste that you like the Nazis and you like Hitler. Are you kidding me? I mean, these are things that should rightfully cost you your career and your job.
Exactly.
And I don't care if, I mean, you have to be, to me, really young to be able to explain that away. These people are not that young. They're too old to be making these idiot mistakes and be this racist openly in a
Right.
space. Not to say that if you did it privately, it was okay, but at least if you did it privately, you're acknowledging that what I'm saying is wrong and immoral, right?
Right.
You,
Exactly.
you can't just wave this away and it's okay. But the racism is really just out front. You saw that the nominee pulled his nominee, the guy that was going to be the counsel in the White
Yes.
House. He pulled the nomination. At least there is some, because at first I thought they might try to ram that through.
Oh,
I
so did I.
yeah, that the Republicans in the Senate were like, if you think we're going to argue this on Thursday, you can forget it, right? But again, a terrible moment for Stephen A. to pick in this moment where there is a literal attack on the Black community, on Black culture, on the Blacksonian, on Black politicians. Now we're undoing Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act so we can eliminate Black members of Congress in the South. And you pick Jasmine Crockett, who sits in Texas, where they're trying to eliminate her congressional seat. You don't bring any of that up, Stephen A. You don't bring
Nope.
any of that. You bring
Nothing.
hostility to somebody who's probably getting death threats on a daily basis, and
Yep.
you're making it worse. Tell me how that helps. Tell me where the logic is. And he's too smart. That guy, and this is what pisses me off. This is why I'm spending 30 minutes on this. He's not a dumbass. See, if
Right.
he was a dumbass, I'd sit here and say, well, okay, he's a dumbass.
Right.
Stephen A. Smith is a smart guy. That's why I know he knows what he's doing. I
Yeah.
know that this is strategic. It makes money, the attention. The bigger the attention, the more people are talking about me, the more the money, the more relevant I am. We know the game, baby. We see what you're doing.
100%.
It's crazy.
100%, Lauren. And he's playing that game. But as I said at the top, one of the big issues that I have with people like him is the fact that they have that platform and they could use that platform in a very different way, especially now. And even if even if you are a Republican, Stephen, it's okay. But it's okay to call out this horrible stuff. People are healthcare. I'm watching people, and this one video stands out again. Another video,
Right.
young Black mom talking about her health insurance going up from $200 to $700 plus dollars.
Right.
Every 2 weeks, $1,500 a month.
Right.
And that does not include, like she says, dental and anything else, vision. It doesn't include any of that, and that's the premium. And she's saying that they have such a high deductible that they'll be paying out of pocket anyway.
Right.
Stephen A. is not concerned about that.
Right.
Right. This poor young lady and her family, they have to figure out Are we paying health insurance this month, or are we paying rent or mortgage this month? Stephen A. doesn't have those concerns,
Right.
but Jasmine Crockett is speaking to
Right.
and for people
Right.
who have those concerns.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that's what killed me about when Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman got targeted by AIPAC and ended up out of Congress, right? They were talking to bread and butter issues. Cori Bush did a demonstration on the House steps on homelessness. Most of the time, these members of Congress, black, white, and whatever, don't even talk about, don't even say the word poverty, much less talk about homelessness. But Jasmine Crockett is, in fact, talking about the very bread and butter issues that so many Americans, and particularly in the black community, that's over-indexed in poverty. I think we're still 1 in 4 black Americans are under the poverty line in the United States. Black, white, and everything else, we have over 40 million poor people in the United States. These members are talking to those issues. Stephen A. Smith is a multimillionaire telling her to shut up. Now, explain that to me. I mean, I could see, I'm not saying that she's off limits for criticism. Nobody's off limits for criticism. It's all good. But you do that at a time when we watch $40 billion of our tax money go overseas, all right, to a country that is going to waste that money. Our farmers are going out of business. We're about to see SNAP get cut off on November 1, okay? And we're about to see a massive increase in a bunch of healthcare premiums for millions of Americans. And this is what you pick. I mean, that's why I do think at some point you do have to say, particularly for a guy coming over from sports, dude, stay in your lane, man. Stay in your lane. You're talking to millionaires all day to play ball. It's all good, but stay in your lane.
And even with that, even with sports, let's be real. I mean, does he attack any player that's non-black? No. Yeah, and the biggest target, of course, is LeBron James. And why is LeBron James the biggest target? Now, I'm not a LeBron James fan, but LeBron is the biggest target because LeBron is pretty much the face of the NBA, has been for years now. He's the big guy. He is the guy that they keep trying to compare to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So of course Stephen A. Smith would interject himself into that,
right,
and talk disparagingly of LeBron James. Of course he would do that.
Yeah, well, they always pick the best. They always pick our best to come after, right? It's just like
100%.
They're gonna pick LeBron James because LeBron James is the numero uno, right? You know, he's the king. He's King James, right? So we're picking him. It's an amazing thing for everybody who's watching. Please hit the like button. I'm Lauren Burke. This is Lauren Live. It'll probably be only 3 times a week, but I'll probably increase it. I don't know. At any rate, Stacey, what you wrote at Black Press USA was excellent as usual, and it blew up for a reason. It is a huge topic when we have the folks at the top of their profession making top money in this country who are in our community attacking our community. I'm like, what? We don't have enough enemies. We don't have enough things to do or enough people to deal with.
Certainly at a moment where Black power should be coming together.
Right.
We don't always have to agree.
Right.
But in a moment like this, it's like if now is not the time, it'll never happen.
Right.
Because we are beyond that well, they may do this. They're doing whatever the heck they want to do.
He knocked down the White House. He knocked down.
Can you
believe that?
Who gave him permission? That's not his house.
I don't want to sound elitist, but a lot of folks that are watching may not know this, but every year the president of the United States invites certain groups of people to go to a Christmas party in the White House, and one of the groups is the media. Some are, of course, the military, members of Congress. Different nights have different things, and it's like 2 weeks. First, there's a White House open house for the holidays, and then you go to the Christmas party. Okay, so I've been to the White House Christmas party, as has Stacey, several times. That part of the White House that the president is destroying is the part that you walk in through the metal detector, and then you go down a hallway. And typically during Christmas, they would have like photos of White House past for Christmas. So you'd see Eisenhower or John F. Kennedy or FDR or whatever. Trump just destroyed that wing of the White House. I mean, when I first saw the photo, I could not believe it. I was in
When you
disbelief.
think about it, right? It's
Right, right,
what's going on here.
right,
Folks, this guy $250 million construction job that they're
right,
doing here.
right,
He's essentially suing the country for 230,000.
right,
That's a half a billion total right there.
right,
He's sold stuff. He's selling federal buildings in DC
right,
to foreign entities. He's
right,
making all these deals where they're paying him for foreign governments are paying him for certain things. This guy is making a fortune off the White House, and nobody, the outrage. Where is the real outrage, Lauren? I mean, we talk about it. The media talks about it. Certainly,
right.
black media, but and other media talks about it.
I gotta
But
say,
where is the serious outrage?
I do think a lot of people are disturbed by that, and even the conservatives, because they got real
Mhm.
quiet. They
It
saw the
got real
pictures of the
quiet.
White
Yeah.
House, and they got weirdly quiet. But it just goes back to what we're saying in our final few minutes here. We're probably gonna wrap at about 9:30. The there are so many things to talk about in the world that we live in today. There's so many topics to focus
Yeah.
on, many of which impact the lives of real people out there who are struggling financially. We have a situation in the country where we have investment bankers who are trying to rise the prices of homes across the country. They're buying in the housing market. That's a subject that doesn't come up too much. Now we have a full on oligarchy in our country where effectively our president has decided to not only raid the treasury. I know you saw the Department of Justice story today that he wants, what is it, $250 million?
Yeah.
Um,
230.
yeah, 230 million, thanks, dollars. And so a lot to talk about. We have to be careful not to waste our time in this life on things that either don't matter or I think redirect our community into nonsense. And
Mhm.
again, I know Stephen A. Smith is a smart guy. I know he is. I love the reaction of what's homeboy's name that just joined Native Land. He had
Bakari.
Vakari,
Bakari
yeah. So
Palace. Yes.
Vakari had a great reaction to him. Hopefully, the two of them will talk because that would be a very smart conversation. But come on, man, don't play us, right? The
Yeah.
black community has been through so much in this country for 400 years, and we're having a trying time right now. I can't even say that this president is as bad as Woodrow Wilson because he is far worse than Woodrow Wilson. It makes Woodrow Wilson look like child's play. We have to go back to the era of after the Civil War. After Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, we had an era which was effectively a group came up called the Redeemers. This, to me, is the Redeemers Part Two. Where they're
And
trying
that
to
says a lot.
that does say a lot because that's a post Civil War era term. Everybody might want to Google the two terms, the Redeemers and the Black Codes. The Black Codes, of course, were just a bunch of laws that came into effect after the Civil War to basically put everybody black back in slavery. But at any rate, a lot to talk about, Stephen A. And this is what you do. I'll give you the last word, Stacey.
Well, I think you said it. This is what he chooses to do. And again, it's about a paycheck. We know the story. We know Malcolm X talked about the house Negro, and he loves his master, more than he loves himself. And Stephen A's master, of course, uh, is the almighty dollar, of course,
Right,
along with Disney and ESPN and
right,
ABC.
right,
That those are his masters, and
right,
he's going to do their bidding so he can continue to be able to hold on firmly to that master dollar of his.
right.
And then folks like him too, Lauren. I believe, and we talked a little bit about this on Let It Be Known. The fact that Trump is also trying to, he's probably going to succeed. Trump and his clan they want to get rid of cash, right? They want to go to bitcoins and things like that, but they also want to use currency in which they can control how you spend it. So their thoughts are way out there. They're far out there. So
Yeah. I mean, I do think that I mean, it's more than just a job when you got 1.1 million followers. You know, I'll say that, and I do think
Mhm.
that he knows what he's
Yeah,
doing. It's very
he knows
deliberate
what he's
to be on
doing.
TV.
But for anybody to say that to be able to just dismiss it is, you're playing right into their hands. You really are.
Yeah, I mean, I think people need to be aware of how much goes into the content of these TV shows. People are
Right.
not just allowed to wing it, okay? And there are executive producers in your earpiece and all this, and just recognize the fact that when you see Don Lemon right now and Joy Reid, the way they're talking now, and just compare that to the way they were talking when they were on MSNBC and CNN. There was some restriction there. You just can't say anything. Now they can say anything, right? On their
Especially Don.
Especially Don. Don is a great example of it. And
Mhm.
so everyone understands, whether they want to admit it or not, that anti-blackness is popular. Like, if
Yeah.
you criticize black people on the air, no one, I mean, there's no backlash usually, and if there is, it's only 14% of the population. We can just keep doing what we're
Yep.
doing, right? That was the real value of Jesse Jackson in his heyday of that 80s, it's like the 80s 90s period where he really socked it to people.
Yeah.
Anyway, I said I'd give you the last word, and I just kept on talking.
That's okay. I think,
uh,
again, you put you nailed it. You simply
yeah,
nailed it.
so
A
you go ahead, good, good.
Yeah, and, unfortunately, there's more like Stephen A. out there.
Right.
That's
A
the
lot more.
unfortunate part. Yeah.
A lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot more. You do a show just on that. But yeah, Stacy, thanks for being here. Everybody who's watching, please hit the like button. This is Lauren Burke. I'll be back tomorrow night at 7 rather than 9. I'm a bit of a night owl, so I like doing stuff. It'll probably always be at 9 o'clock, but I almost feel like pulling a 10 o'clock out there sometimes. Big fan of Nightcap.
Oh, okay,
I love
okay, I got you.
Nightcap because that's like at midnight. At any rate, if everybody would like to hit the like button, that'd be fantastic. Stacy, thanks for joining. Everybody, watch Let It Be Known at 8 a.m. every morning. Black Press USA's flagship morning show is on every morning, not just 3 days a week. I'm weak, so I'm just doing 3 days a week at night. It takes me all day to wake up. Y'all get up early. Y'all get up early. That 8 o'clock's early for me. At any rate, Stacy, thanks for being
And
here.
I'm wearing the hat in honor of Lauren because I don't
Oh,
normally
thanks.
wear
Oh,
hats,
that's
so
that's
I
cool.
I know Lauren will have her
Anyway,
have her trademark hat on, so
the
I said, "Let me
hats,
throw a
man.
hat on."
The hats are just about me not wanting to do my hair. I just don't feel like figuring out my hair. But any rate, that's it. And good night, everybody. And thanks for watching. Thanks, Stacy. Really appreciate it.
Oh, pleasure.
All
Thanks.
right, bye bye. Please try update on. Okay, I will. The Honda Element, ladies and gentlemen.
I see that.
Yeah.